Yeah, it's sorry. It's the Meika Safehouse show on the Pet Channel, only on TVU with your host, Ian Sprague. How you doing today?
We're doing good. How about yourself, James?
Really, really well. We have a brand new visitor. Who do we got here today?
We got a brand new one. This is Taz, like Tasmanian Devil, right? She's actually a very sweet bird. She just came into care in the last couple weeks. We're just gonna have her. She's gonna do her first vet visit tomorrow. So this is her first big outing since she's been with us. She's been at the aviary, just sort of in quarantine, chilling out. So now she's through that, and now she's going to do a vet visit tomorrow and get a quick once over, and then she's going to be out and about and available for people to meet.
And then, so what? Any ailments that you see? She came in pretty good. Just
She come in pretty good. She had a with her previous home. It was her previous owner passed away, so there's always a grieving process and everything that had happened. So yeah, but she's doing all right. She's starting to come out of her shell a little bit here and there, so she's doing good.
How old of a bird?
You know what? I'm not even sure. I'm gonna say Taz is probably around I think getting close to 15 or 15 or 18, something like that.
Okay.
Somewhere in that realm anyhow. She's not that old.
Did she let out any words or not much?
She says her name. She says, "Hi, Taz." I know that for sure. Right? Hi, Taz. Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
so these
good.
are Moluccan Cockatiels. These are one of they're from Indonesia.
Okay.
One of the more right now, anyways, they're heavily poached in Indonesia. I just pulled up some stats before we went online here. So just in the month of August, there was 8 Moluccan Cockatoos, 9 red lories, and they were all confiscated at the Saram airport. They were being smuggled out.
Okay.
But luckily they caught them, and they were in relatively decent shape, and so they were released with another group of 20 Moluccan Cockatoos and other red lories that were released back into the wild. Thank goodness, before anything too terribly horrible could happen to them. But they are one of these birds that people are they're drawn to them mainly because they're big, white, fluffy things. And they're cuddly, So if Taz is more than happy to have a scratch and a cuddle. But the thing that you have to realize about that is that they are a wild animal. It's not. This is just one side of them. So you see them in the TELUS commercial bouncing and having a good time and everything like that. I wish TELUS understood the ramifications of those kind of commercials. Yeah, it sells telephone stuff and all that. Yeah, I get that. But they have to look at it also. There's people that all of a sudden see this bird and they go, oh, boy, I would love to have that. I'd like to have that in my house or something like that. And the ramifications go all the way back to what we were talking about in Indonesia, right? So even though we'd like to think that most of the poaching and all that kind of stuff is driven by the Asian market, it's also driven by the North American market. So we have to, that's where the money comes from, guys, unfortunately. And so we have to be aware of all that kind of stuff. So when we see birds being used, or any animal for that case, being used in commercials and all that kind of stuff, it might be helpful if anybody's ever talking to a marketing person to just say, you know what, maybe use your product to sell itself. Don't use these guys, or use a cartoon. That's way cheaper, way easier, and go from there. But yeah.
Do you think Taz is a smuggled bird or born here?
Oh, I'm fairly certain that Taz was born in Canada,
okay.
I don't know about his parents or her parents.
Yeah.
You can tell, like I said, we've talked before many times when we're doing these shows, we talk about hand-fed babies and all that kind of stuff. You can tell from Taz's behavior that Taz was probably hand-fed, right? He wasn't parent raised. So she has unhealthy attachments to people, right? So, which is it's good from a pet owner's kind of perspective, but from the bird's perspective, it can be a little bit of an issue. But Taz is an anomaly when it comes to cockatoos. So if you notice, look at Taz, all feathers are perfect, right? Most of the time with these cockatoos, when you see these guys, they have like 2 feathers to their name. One over here, and they're stripped naked a lot of times. And that's just because they're a very complex animal. They're super intelligent. They need huge areas to live like a normal cockatoo would, like kilometers, square kilometers of jungle and stuff like that for them to do what a cockatoo needs to do to be normal. When we take them and we put them in confinement and put them in our homes and stuff like that, a lot of times feathers are the first to go. She's kept her feathers in good shape. The other thing you need to know about a Moluccan cockatoo, and this is the one that a lot of people aren't ready for, is how loud they are. I don't know. I might have told you, James, but I know I tell a lot of people this story. The first Moluccan cockatoo we ever looked after was a bird named Powder, and beautiful bird. Same kind of personality as this. She just wanted to be your friend, but she had no feathers. She only had the feathers on her head, right? But which was normal for her. And where I live very close to Pine Street School, and for whatever reason, I had to go to Pine Street School to pick up my son, right? He was in kindergarten, I think, or he did something wrong. One of the two, can't remember what the occasion was. But, and Powder was in the aviary in the back. And the kids were out playing at recess and all that kind of stuff. And I was at the front of the school, and I could hear that cockatoo over, 500 screaming children and traffic noise and just life. I could hear Powder loud and clear. And so we would take the birds in a lot of times to the school for, just show the kids and educate them a little bit about what these birds are all about. And, all the kids say, "Oh yeah, we know that bird. we know what she sounds like."
And then get a whole flock of them, a whole family groupings of them.
Yeah, a family group of Moluccan cockatoos would be pretty impressive noise. It would rival probably a 747. Yeah,
now
they are very, very complex birds. I don't recommend. Well, that's truly, I don't recommend any parrot for a pet. But these guys are truly very complex, and you need a lot of patience to share your home with them.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you don't view them as pets. You're sharing your home and.
Oh yeah, because to me a pet is a domestic animal. So when we're doing stuff with the chickens or we're doing stuff with dogs or anything, those are domesticated animals. Those are, even though it's probably not fair to label them as pets either anymore. I think we should be a little bit more enlightened about it or whatever. But
yeah.
When it comes to this is an animal that, on the intelligence scale, like if you want to really look at it, they're in there with whales, great apes. We're looking at a very, very intelligent animal that has a very complex way of living naturally. So it's something that we really have to take into consideration when we're with these guys, because you're just sharing space now. You might be outwitted, and I have been outwitted by these guys more than once. I'm not sure.
Now, how's Taz with eating? Does she work those little machines that you have for them?
Oh yeah. She'll love the little foraging toys.
Yes.
Probably the bird like Taz, and Taz is one of the largest of the white cockatoos. There's bigger cockatoos, but of the white cockatoos, she's one of the biggest. They're amazingly powerful. So a lot of those toys she can just break. So okay. we give her different foraging stuff. So we use it's a wooden box, and I have pool balls. From just 8 balls. Stripes and solids. I have those, and those are on top of her food. So she has to flick those out of the way to get at the food, right? So, and then the balls will roll around in there and stuff like that. So she has to constantly move things to get to her food, and that works fairly good.
Has she interacted with Eleanor yet?
They've had a shout off.
Because they're the similar they're a similar sized bird.
They're a similar sized bird. The macaws are a different kind of energy to them. Cockatoos are like Taz here. They move very, very slowly until they don't have to anymore. Yeah. Right? So they're very methodical. And the macaws are kind of like I don't know. They just go for it. Right?
Stomping around.
Stomping around. Yeah, they're a little bit more. But these guys are slow and calculating but amazingly strong. And when they want to be fast, trust me, they can be fast.
Now, has Taz intermingled in the aviary with any of the other birds? Not yet.
Not yet. She's been in quarantine, so she's been by herself. Just I've come in a few times and talked to her, and she can see the other birds, but she can't get near them. Yeah. Right. So because we have to be very careful about what. In case she has some sort of weird disease or something, we don't want everybody being sick.
One of those mites or stuff.
Yeah.
And then how's she been doing in the store today? Like
So far so good. She had a little. She got excited when Janae came in. Janae came in this morning and she got a little excited for that. I don't know what she saw, or she thought she knew Janae or what. I don't know. Yeah. But she got a little excited for that. So there was a little bit of vocalization, a little bit of dancing around. But she's been very good. And so she's gonna, depending what happens at the vet here, in the next little bit, she'll be at the store a little bit more often. We'll bring her in maybe on the weekends and stuff like that. See how she does.
Good. And
how do you say no to a bird that does that, eh?
Oh, and watching and listening, right?
Oh yeah, she's paying attention.
Tuning into our conversation.
Absolutely.
So in terms of new homes and people adopting some of the.
Yeah, well, it's slowing down a little bit, but that's kind of to be expected. Kids are back in school. People are trying to get back into their normal. So that's slowed down a little bit. We'll see how it goes in the next little while. But we go through these hills and valleys and stuff like that. It's a regular kind of rhythm to it. So we'll see how it goes. We're hoping the one that we're anticipating is now that kids are back in school, that there's going to be more animals surrendered. We're hoping that doesn't happen, but we're kind of braced ourselves for that too. So.
Right.
We'll see how it goes. As for the Parrot Club, they are going ahead with meetings. The first few are going to be over the Zoom platform. So if anybody wants to join the Parrot Club or be part of that, get a hold of the Parrot Club either through their Facebook page or through me at the store here, and we'll get the Zoom address to you. So when they do the Zoom meeting, you can join in and see what it's all about.
That'd be interesting. Get a little bit of segment of that footage to see.
Well, it's going to be strange because it's going to be like this: a whole bunch of people with a parrot on their shoulder.
Yeah, right? But I think that's kind of cool, right? So
yeah, well, when they have the regular meetings, it's they're all in the same room, so that's everybody's together and it's intermingling. It's very loud, but it's so it's going to be a strange one as for the first little bit, but I think as time goes on, then they'll probably loosen up a little bit and we'll be able to start doing.
Now, on your wild bird segment, what kind of changes now?
Huge changes.
So we've been, in terms of, what do you do product wise? What are you setting out? We've been. We're really conscious of keeping our feeder full of water, you know what I mean? Yeah. And yesterday was really nice. I go in the backyard and the birds are just going crazy. I couldn't figure out what it was. And then I get to there's no water for them. They're like bossing me, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
We don't feed, but I know that a lot of people do. So what's the transition and what are people looking at now?
So right now, for the people that have been feeding birds, they're probably really waiting for these guys to move on. But we've had a lot of pine siskins in the area, in the Sherwood Park area, and they are, a lot of people just think they're sparrows, but they're not. They're a little kind of nondescript brown bird, but they have yellow flashes on their wings and then their tail, and they'll come in great huge flocks, and so they've been coming in and they've been decimating bird feeders for the last month or so. And they're starting to disperse now. They're one of those species. They're called an eruption species, So some years we have lots of them, and other years we just don't have any, and they come and go, and it's hard to kind of get a handle on them. But to me, those are the birds we see when we're seeing migration in full swing, right? So I don't know if you've probably, when you've been out doing your walking, you've heard the cranes overhead. Way up high there, you hear this strange noise. It's not geese, it might be geese. I don't know what I'm hearing. Yeah. Those are usually sandhill cranes doing their migration. Anybody walking around Broadmoor Lake, you'll see the Canada geese are grouping up. They're getting ready to leave. For those who leave, now, some of them stay year-round nowadays, but still quite a few of them do migrate. You're seeing everybody starting to everybody's getting out of Dodge. They know what's coming. So a lot of the suets that will be starting getting more popular for the colder weather, because they're not going to melt or anything like that, and the birds really like that. A lot of the woodpeckers are going to be. It's not that there's more of them now, but you'll be able to see them better because the leaves are coming off the trees and stuff like that. So you start to notice your woodpeckers more, your nuthatches, things like that. But as for feeding, the sunflower seeds are still the number one thing for them to go after. They're going to eat that year round. You're going to see different species coming and leaving. So a lot of these guys are on their way out, but you're going to start seeing juncos. You start seeing those guys seasonally. With any luck, in my opinion anyhow, with any luck, we'll see some red poles here in January. We're on the southern edge of their migration. We'll start seeing snow buntings, stuff like that. So it'll be it's always an exciting time for us anyhow.
They come here because it's warmer. We're the southern end of their migration.
We're the southern end of the red poles and the snow buntings migration. So
red poles.
Really, it's pretty interesting stuff.
And it takes them till January to get here.
Well, usually, yeah.
Red poles. What's the other one?
Snow bunting.
Snow bunting.
Yeah. And you'll see the snow buntings out, in fields and stuff like that, especially around granaries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You'll see them, and they're just a tiny wee little bird, and you'll see them on the ground foraging around in the snow. But that's where when people sow grain and stuff like that. But they're cool little birds.
I haven't seen the crows lately.
They're moving on, but you'll start seeing ravens pretty soon.
Oh, the bigger ones.
Yeah. Now, so what happens here is the ravens are here. The crows are here in the summertime.
Yeah.
And then the ravens get the heck out of the way, and then the crows get out of the way, and then the ravens will come in. That's what the blackbirds we see in the wintertime are ravens. They're smaller ravens usually in town, but they're ravens all the same. And then in the springtime they reverse. Ravens go back to the bush, and the crows move up. Right. So. And
how far south do the crows go?
They go straight into the States.
Just right down there.
Yeah, they don't listen to the border protection guys at all.
No. Well, what I like, the crows are gone, which means now the magpies and blue jays, have full
reign until the ravens show up.
But there's nothing left, so they're down on the ground picking worms and stuff. So
yeah, you betcha.
There's no big dragonflies or anything tasty left for them.
They'll be cleaning up the crab apples and all that kind of stuff. So.
That's good. Okay, that's awesome.
Cool.
Meika's Safehouse on the Pet Channel, only on TVU, with your host Ian Sprague. Thank you.
Right on. We're good to go for next weekend.